So today we're going to be going over 10 of the best Lattafa fragrance clones you can purchase. Now, I'll just go ahead and say this up front and center because I know I'm going to get a whole bunch of speculation. This video is not sponsored by Lattafa or anybody. Most of these I have purchased myself. However, a few I did get sent from Fragrance By for free, and that's always kind of just they send them over, and if I like it, I say that. If I don't like it, I say that, and they don't care because I'm not trashing them as a company. I'm trashing the scent, which they're not affiliated with either. That being said, Fragrance By is a great place to shop. Just give them a little shout out. Generally, they're kind of the plug when it comes to all of these clones. They get them quick, and they're usually very affordable, and so that's a great place to go. They have great prices on niche and everything else as well, so great place to shop if you're looking around for some things at a discount. That being said, this brand has impressed me probably more so than a lot of the other clone brands here as of lately. They've been putting out a lot of things, a couple of which in here I think are incredible and just beyond what I ever would have expected to see in terms of clones. And I've said this before, but clone technology, I know that's not proper terminology, but just clones in general have really ramped up within the past couple of years, and they are getting incredibly good, almost scary good. So I will link these down below. All of these for the most part are around $35 or less. We're talking very affordable options here to much more expensive designer and niche scents. So let's get it kicked off with Oud for Glory. So again, all these are Lattafa, so I don't really need to say that over and over again. So Oud for Glory. Now this is a clone of Initio Oud for Greatness. So that one itself is a really nice wearable oud that caught some hype, which is pretty cool because one, it's an oud scent, and two, it's expensive. So whenever something like that catches hype, it usually gets a lot of interest because people are like, okay, you know, this is something that generally isn't mainstream and it's expensive, so it must be good. And I do have to say, Initio Oud for Greatness is very good. Like I said, the main thing is it's very cost prohibitive, but not this. This is within that price range that I listed off. It's going to be somewhere around in there. Very affordable. It's, for the most part, a pretty wearable oud. A lot of you guys, I think, could get along with it even if you aren't the biggest fan of oud. And so it's a really nice one. Okay, next up, this one's a little bit hard to find. It's one of those deals where it comes in stock, but then it sells out usually within a few hours. However, I have a mailing list you can sign up to where every time something rare or discontinued or hard to find comes in stock, I shoot out an email to you guys. I don't spam. Generally, it's going to be one a day or less. Sometimes if it's a busy day, maybe two would go out. But the point is I try to keep them relatively brief, and I try not to just bombard your inbox. But that being said, if you don't like the email thing, I post the same deals on my community tab. So no matter what, you'll be able to get this at some point if you follow along with my channel. It is Camera. So this is an Angel's Share clone, and it's heavily hyped up to the point where, like I said, it sells out quick. Fragrance By puts a limit on it to try to help slow it down a little bit to give more people a chance so people don't buy up 10 or 20 at a time, because that does happen, believe it or not. So, you know, they're trying their best there to limit and regulate this, but it still sells really quick, and for good reason. It's a really solid clone. I don't think it's the closest clone to Angel Share, however, but I do think it is really good. And the twist that this one provides actually can be beneficial. If you already own Angel Share, well, you can have this and have a little bit of a twist on that DNA, but still be close. Okay, now this one here is probably my favorite clone out of the entire video. This is the one I was kind of thinking about in my head mostly when talking about this brand. Has a couple that are really good, like scary, crazy good. This is it. It's Assad. So believe it or not, this is also one of the most affordable. It's like $22, $24, 100 mil, which is crazy because this is a clone of Sauvage Elixir, which in and of itself is still a relatively new scent. They got this one out pretty quick. And Sauvage Elixir is $140, $150 or $160 at retail, something crazy. Actually, yeah, $140 is discounter price. Retail is like $160 for 65 ml or 60 ml, and 100 ml is $230 or $220. Very expensive stuff. This one is not expensive at all. In fact, this is a cheapie, straight up. But it doesn't smell like a cheapie. This is Sauvage Elixir to a T. I mean, this is splitting hairs, which is crazy to say given the massive price gap. But it's true, this is amazing, and if you want Sauvage Elixir on a budget, I highly recommend this. Okay, so this next one is from Alhambra, Maison Alhambra. However, it's still Lattafa. If you look at the bottom of the box of any of these Maison Alhambra fragrances, it literally says Lattafa Perfumes and Lattafa.com or LattafaPerfumes.com. So they sell them on Lattafa.com. It's just kind of an off branch of the big brand itself, which is Lattafa. And so for all intents and purposes, I'm going to include those in here as well, just because they are really good. And I kind of want to do that because it's my video. So I'm going to. This one is Lovely Cherry. So pretty self-explanatory. The bottle, if that doesn't give it away, the name will also give you some clues, but I think the bottle gives it away for most people. This is a Tom Ford Lost Cherry clone. Very heavy on the cherry. There's some booze in here. Really nice fruity scent. Smells great. Great performance out of this one. And a fraction of the price of the real thing. All right, next up we have Fakar. So this is an eau de parfum. This is YSLY eau de parfum / parfum, actually. Kind of right there in the middle. It just kind of, with one swing, knocks out just the whole YSLY DNA in general, EDT, EDP, parfum, just within that category. But what's nice is it has better performance than something like the EDT. It's more so on par with the parfum in terms of performance, a little bit less projection, but still great longevity. Really, really nice, affordable alternative where the Ys are always going to be over $100, even at discounters. This one's in that $20 to $30 range, making it much more obtainable. It's a great summertime compliment getter, and if you're on a budget, you cannot go wrong with this. Next up, we have Socrat. So this is an eau de parfum as well, 100 ml bottle. Going to be in that price range, $20, $30, somewhere around in there. Acqua di Gio Profumo. So I was so happy to see this show up, and I saw it show up and I saw it was listed as Profumo clone on Fragrance By. So going into it, I added it to my cart, added a few more things, checked out. I'm like, okay, what Profumo are they talking about here? They didn't have a picture of the bottle either. I looked it up, couldn't find anything. So I'm like, all right, it'll either be Acqua di Gio Profumo, or more likely, I was actually thinking it was going to be like Armani Code Profumo or something. I got it in, hit that first spray, and immediately I was like, yeah, this is Acqua di Gio Profumo, and it's done in a very good way. One signature thing about Acqua di Gio Profumo is it has this grassy green opening. And you guys know that's one of my favorite fragrances of all time. I have so many bottles of it. I wear it all the time. I don't like the opening that much. I'm fully able to admit that, and I'm able to look at the negatives of my favorite scent and not get upset about it. If someone else were to say that, I wouldn't get offended, right? It's just one of those things. This also has that opening. That's how you know this is a premium clone. But it does dry down to that patchouli, incense, smokiness. It's just a really, really impressive one on a budget. This next one is usually $15 to $20. I've seen it as low as, so pretty cool. It's Hayati. So essentially, it's Rosassi Hawas. Okay, really kind of pretty close to that. A little bit of cinnamon going on in here, but you're getting the fruits as well and the watery notes and a boatload of ambroxan, right? Just kind of giving off that blue fragrance sparkle with the aquatics and the Invictus Aqua DNA, essentially, which Rosassi did start. Rosassi itself is a clone brand, so I kind of find that interesting. But ultimately, this is going to be much more affordable than pretty much all of the other fragrances that do a similar thing as the Rosassi or Invictus Aqua or whatever. And it's a really good one for that. All right, next up, Bright Peach. So again, if the bottle doesn't give it away, the name will definitely help. But yeah, I mean, this to me looks like a lawsuit waiting to happen. It really does. Pretty crazy. Yeah, Tom Ford, Bitter Peach, right? It's what it's all about. And I like these fruity fragrances from Tom Ford. I think they're really quite good. You know, generally they're known for getting into the darker things and the richer, heavier things. That's kind of what they're most known for. Some of the ouds and the leathers and you know, things like that. Amber Absolute, right? Really premium, heavy stuff. But they've also done a pretty good job with these fruitier things here, kind of unisex scents. And this one is no exception either. Also has like a little bit of a booziness to it, I think. Nice bright peach, literally, but actually the smell has a bright, juicy peach smell. Very refreshing, very uplifting, happy, and easygoing. Smells great in the summertime, and this clone here is really impressive. Rave Now Eau de Parfum, or Rave Now Black Eau de Parfum, as on Fragrance Buy's website, but this is what you're getting. So this is a Fruitventus clone, and I kind of describe this one as Fruitventus. So essentially this is the Aventus clone smell, the Aventus DNA, but with a ton of emphasis on the pineapple or the bergamot mixing with the black currant and all of the other fruits and citruses. It's got a ton of that going on, but mostly the pineapple bergamot combo. Very syrupy, very sweet off the top, and then dries down to that smokier birch Aventus dry down. It's a really, really nice one if you want the fruity aspects of Aventus amped way up. And last up, we'll end with a final Tom Ford clone, because why not? We have Woody Oud. So this here is oud wood, as you could probably imagine, and it's really well done. You know, a lot of these Tom Fords don't have that many clones, or at least really any good ones that are worth talking about, but this and the others are ones that are really good, which is great because even at discounters, these Tom Ford private blends are not at all affordable. And so if you want oud wood and very close to it, you could go for this. Now, there's always been something like Versace Pour Homme Oud Noir. That's, you know, $70 or so. That smells similar to that. I wouldn't call that one as much of a clone as this, but still similar. But if you want an actual clone and you're on a budget, this is a great one to have. And I'll be the first one to admit, those Tom Ford clones all stacked up together on the shelf, they actually look pretty good. A lot of fragrance clones kind of get a bad reputation for just their bottles being tacky and weird. People don't like to display them. But I think these could be proudly displayed. That's just me. But I think they look pretty cool. Alright guys, that's going to do it for me. 10 of the best Lattafa fragrances that you can buy. Lattafa fragrance clones. I think these are great. Very impressive stuff. My favorite one, like I said, would probably have to be Assad. I think that is just a very well done one. And pretty much the cheapest as well. Links will be down below. That's going to do it for me. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy. We'll see you tomorrow with another one. Take care.